Hello, friends. Season wishes to you all and greetings to everyone from Labor Law Insights. So, welcome to our very first video where we update the important labor law compliances for the month of January for the state of Karnataka. It is very important for one to adhere to the norms and regulations from time to time in order to stay compliant. So, now let's start the slides and see the required compliances to be complied. Submission of returns, and compliance with labor legislations during January 2024. So now we have made a list of items that has to be complied by the employers and the employees varying in the situations. So in the very first one, we have the annual returns that is to be filed in Form 45 to the concerned labor officer under the Building and Other Construction Workers Act and Rules. The last date for doing the same is on or before February 15th. Moving on to the second one, under the Contract Labor Act, we have to file the annual returns online in Form 25 on or before February 15th. The annual returns should be done for the period of Jan to December 2023. Please make note of this. Moving on to the third one, we have two line items under the EPF and MP Act. The first one being the remittance of PF contribution in the ECR online, and the second one is the submission of monthly statement of international workers relating to the details of international workers qualifying for membership. The due date for doing both of them is on or before January 15th. In the fifth one, we have the ESI Act. Under this, there is the remittance of ESI contributions and contribution history online, and the last date for doing the same is on or before January 15th. In the sixth one, we have the submission of ER1 for the quarter ending December 31st, 2023 under the Employment Exchange. The last date for doing the same is on or before January 31st. In the seventh one, we have the submission of annual returns in Form 20 to the inspectors of the factories under the Factories Act. The last date for submission is on or before February 1st. Moving on to the next set of slides. So in the eighth one, we have two line items under the Karnataka Labour Welfare Fund Act. The first one being the remittance of the Labour Welfare Fund to the Labour Welfare Commissioner, and the second one being the remittance of unpaid accumulations. That is, in any case of unpaid accumulations, the same has to be remitted to the Welfare Commissioner in Form B. The last date for doing the same is on or before January 15th, which has already passed. Moving on to the 10th one, this is a very important act, that is the Karnataka Shops and Commercial Establishment Act and Rules. Under this act, we have to file the annual returns in Form U. This should include information pertaining to the employees from January to December, and this is applicable for whoever has been registered under shops and establishment irrespective of the number of employment. The last date for doing the same is on or before January 31st. Moving on to the 11th one, we have the Maternity Benefit Act, which is very important for women. So, under this, we have to make the submission of annual returns in Form K, L, and M on or before January 31st. In the 13th one, we have the Minimum Wages Act, and the last date for doing the same is on or before January 31st. Under this, we have the submission of annual return in Form 3. In the 14th one, we have the Payment of Wages Act, and under this, there is the submission of annual return in Form 3. The due date for doing the same is on or before February 1st. In the 15th one, we have the Payment of Bonus Act, where there is the submission of annual returns in Form D. The due date for doing the same is on or before February 1st. And last but not the least, we have the Profession Tax Act, where there is the remittance of tax deducted from the salary or the wages, and there is the submission of Form 5A. The last date of submission for doing the same is on or before January 20th. So with that being said, thank you all for watching our video, and if you did like our content, please do hit the subscribe button and the bell icon in order to stay updated and most importantly, to stay compliant.